Arrendis arrives just
Oh,
in time.
finally! Like, literally as we go live, Arrendis jumps into the room. Welcome, Arrendis. Welcome, everybody, to Push to Talk.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I had to get something important taken care of because the first of those replacement Legos arrived.
Oh my god, yeah, you got your toy. You got your toy.
No, I can't fix it yet. The important one isn't going to be here for another 3. The important piece isn't going to be here for another 3 weeks because it has to come from fucking Denmark, Caleb.
I know, and I did want to suggest that if you really have a beef like that, you should go to the local Danish embassy and complain.
I might.
I'm sure they would actually take it serious.
You know what would be really cool? You know what would be really cool, Arrendis? If the 20-year anniversary edition, collector's edition box came with like a cool Lego.
An Eve Lego set? That might be worth it.
Yeah, right.
That might be worth it. Well, yeah, that would double the price of the damn thing, though.
We were out shopping, and there was a Lego apparel store, and I actually suggested that we find a piece of apparel and send it to you as a gift. But it was mostly kid sizes, and I don't think you'll fit in that very well.
Not really, no.
No, maybe if it was full stretch, it would look really good.
No.
Oh, Jesus, right. Well,
I don't know what to say.
Well, we have a lot of we've got a lot of things to talk about, dude. Like, don't worry about that. But yeah, everybody, welcome to Push to Talk. It is Saturday, the 8th of July. You guys in America, 2023. You guys in America have had your 4th of July celebrations
4 days ago, in fact.
I mean,
you're still setting off fireworks.
I was about to say, you say 4 days ago. I've heard fireworks like last weekend and this weekend already. So
yeah, but this is the U.S. There's always explosions going off somewhere.
Me too.
Oh God.
So, Arrendis, what did you do for the 4th?
Worked.
All day and all night?
No, just all night. Midnight to 8. So I slept during the day.
Nice. I was at the lake house that that our family rented for the summer, and
nice.
did boating. Okay, so what the coolest part is, so we're sitting out on the deck and we're watching all the boats throughout the midday, just driving around, and someone has a European like wooden cruise craft, like one of the ones in Venice or like you see in James Bond movies that are like the wooden ones. Oh, they were so pretty.
Gondola?
No, like a speedboat. So in Venice, there's 2 types of boats. You can get the gondola or you can get the little wooden, like really fancy speedboats they have. And so they had one of those on the water. And then they had a steamboat, like a tiny little boat with the striped canopy. And then it had a little steam engine in the center of it. And it was going toot-toot and puffing white smoke and going like a mile an hour around the lake. It was hilarious. I was like, who owns that? And who brings that out on this lake? It's great. And then, my work decided to have the computers down for 4 days. So I got a 4-day weekend out of it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, apparently no one knows how proxies work. And now I had to get Microsoft Authenticator on my phone and to be able to make this work. And
the humanity.
Well, and I had to make a 15-character password. I'm like, how am I supposed to remember a 15-character password?
You generally
make it a sentence.
Yeah, you generally tend to make it.
I'm not going to tell you my exact password, but I basically was like, okay, our corporation's name's really fucking long. I'll just do something with that. So now my password is just going to be EVE Online Corporations because I can't. Normally they were my pets with like some numbers and stuff mixed in, and now those are too short. So now I have to use like really long fucking corporation names to remember this shit.
Oh
This
dear.
is bullshit. And also, if anyone wants to break into my stuff, like, it doesn't matter. We don't keep any credit card info. You ain't getting anything out of it anyways, so.
Fuck you, Microsoft is 16 characters. Just in case you needed one.
Oh, I don't think
and as much as it sort of like it seems very, very tempting to do, like I would shy away from using a passwords manager, like to some degree, because
well, it doesn't even have. I never even.
Issues with like.
They made me download it on my phone, and then when I finally, because the crazy part here. So
Google Authenticator isn't a password manager. It is a two-factor authenticator. Like there's a difference there.
Right, but this is a Microsoft one. So what I had to do, so Tuesday, so apparently Saturday, Sunday they were having trouble, but I didn't know that because I don't work those days. So Sunday night I'm trying to set up my computer at the lake house to work, so I didn't have to go home early, and it's not connecting. So I text my manager like, "Hey, this isn't working. Is there something going on?" She said, "Yes, the entire company's down. The entire company of a $45 billion company is down." I'd like to point out this is not a tiny company. So I'm like, okay, so Monday morning, nothing's working. So I just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. My manager's kind of slow on like giving us an update. So I just had to hang around the house the whole day. But I was like, all right. So while working, because I got paid for this too. While working, I'm going on the boat, I'm swimming, barbecuing, all that stuff.
Well, that's the thing, when it comes to sort of like being in the office, you have to somehow, in some way, shape, or form, figure out a way of like doing work or entertaining yourself in some way, shape, or form, and that invariably ends up basically being, browsing, like, I don't know, various different social media, which can end up actually being pretty shitty. I don't know if you've seen the state of social media recently. It's been pretty fucking terrible.
It's an interesting day. Well, Thursday, I wake up thinking maybe they fixed it because no one said that it wasn't working. So I try to log in and then it's like, oh, no, you can't get in. So I text my manager. My manager should be messaging me this shit, but I have to reach out to find this out. I'm like, what the hell, bitch? Like, just have a whole, like, just make a text group and just send it to all of us at once. It'd be easier. But she's like, okay, you have to drive to the physical office or a store location with your computer. And this is not a tiny like laptop. This is 2 monitors with a tower on the back, keyboard mat. Like it's a whole set. It takes a whole tote box to move. I had to either take it into the office or to a store location, log in internally there, and then I can do this. I'm in northern Indiana, nowhere near the office. So I have to go find some random Lowe's with taking a shopping cart, walking in with my computer set up in a box. And I'm just like looking around like I'm supposed to be here. None of them have any idea why I'm there. They have no idea. And like all the manager asked me like, do you have ID? Where are you from? I'm like, bitch, back off. Like there ain't nothing here I could steal from the computer system anyways. But and then it didn't work. I spent an hour and a half there and it didn't work. So I had to just take it back. And they were like, well, can you try again? I'm like, no, it's a 30-minute drive to the store. Fuck you guys. I'm just not working today.
Jesus Christ.
So then we had to leave early. We left in time that I could get to our office, our actual office here in Indy before it closed. And I was like the last person that got in and they fixed it. But I was just like, and it took like 4 minutes to fix. It was so easy. I just couldn't get connection to do it. So stupid. I've never heard of anyone having to physically go to a store location, go to the break room and plug in.
Oh,
that was my weekend.
Yeah, that does sound pretty shitty, to be completely honest.
Steamboat.
But the steamboat
was fun.
The steamboat, like, at least took the edge off.
Like literally Steamboat Willie.
Sounds nice, and it's entertained us in staff only. Coming up with new passwords for you.
It's a good one there.
We definitely haven't been doing that one.
I must admit I had a slightly better
Where's my
weekend,
mood?
than Dawn then, because my significant other decided that since PlayStations are suddenly available for purchase and stuff, I should get ahead and get one. So she bought me a PlayStation 5, and I have been having fun grinding through Final Fantasy 16. So that's a mixed bag because, of course, it's Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy is always kind of good. But I must admit that on the scale of Final Fantasy games, this is maybe the lowest that I've ever played. And I have so many issues with it, starting with the fact that I think they fired the fashionistas. The clothing and the armors and shit looks like something from the 90s. It is so butt ugly that
I'd like to.
I don't
When did
even know.
Hold on. When did Final Fantasy start? Let's see what this here.
Oh
God,
I want to say
Final Fantasy.
I want to say 86, 87.
Yeah.
It's number one from 86.
Let's see here. Final Fantasy series. I'll look it up.
I think the oldest I played was Final Fantasy 3.
1987 was the first one. So being close from the 90s makes sense because that's what all of their aesthetics are.
Well, but none of this looks like even stuff from the 90s. It was just
Also,
because of the graphics, it was worse. But anyways, anyone that actually likes the Final Fantasy franchise and sees the art direction of this will say this is the lowest point that the franchise has ever been in. It's
now, how can you look, Caleb? Final Fantasy 13 exists. How can you say
Final Fantasy 13 was a fucking travesty? It was so boring. It was so stupid.
But this is.
I bought that. Okay. I bought that thinking, oh, this will be fun. And it was like a Mario game with pretty characters. That was literally it. You just went forward, set up your things to just automatically do the entire fight for you. And I got it through like a third to a half of that game and said, I'm done. Because it was so boring.
Let me just say that having Arrendis here is a little bit apropos because the dialogue writers and the story writers seem to have if a Japanese English master's student swallowed like all of Shakespeare's body of work, basically ate a first folio, right, and then tried to regurgitate something that resembles Shakespearean language, but with the skill set of a Japanese English speaker and a modern Chat GPT AI. That's what
I was waiting for you to work Chat GPT into this. It is so awkward. He's throwing in some of those antiquated terms all the time, and it's like so awkward and cringy. And when you multiple times use the term anon, it's like, could you not please? At least if you want to do that, you should have made the whole cosmology actually work with it, and they didn't. So, well, when you say
really
multiple
cringy.
times, do you mean like multiple times over the course of, the story, or multiple times over the course of a sentence?
No, over the course of the story. It's when the character has these short dialogues. If you ever get to try it, Arrendis, you will get exactly what I mean. This is so weird. It's borderline terrible. It's not all your bases belong to us level, but it's close.
Wow.
Listen, they were not paid to make a good game. They were paid to make a game.
It's kind of what I concluded when I had this talk with Shingley, that it feels like, because modern gaming industry is so international, I think a lot of the bigger companies are like yanking the Japanese talent out of Japan. That's what it feels like. It feels like they've lost all their high-end, really, really talented workers, both in the story writings and in the art direction, and especially in things like the fashion. And there's no comedy in it. Like there's not a single thing in there that's funny. All the quirky, weird Japanese comedy is gone. and that's just, to me, then it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy title at all. I want to say, if this was not a Square Enix game, I would say it's a really good game. But the standard that you expect from Square Enix is like way higher. This is the same feeling I had when I went from playing Wildlands to Breakpoint. It's like, you've gone backwards. You've evolved backwards. This is not a good experience compared to what you expect. But at least I have a final. I played a Final Fantasy game, so that was fun, and it was, of course, 50 some odd hours of entertainment. And I have a PlayStation 5 now, so that's good.
I mean, PlayStation 5 is fucking awesome. Yeah.
It's a nice platform.
I would say that, you know, even though you didn't find some you know, some humor or some, you know, the classic Japanese humor in Final Fantasy, was it 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. 16. We did find it last night in a Japanese advert.
Oh yes, we did. Are you going to put that on screen?
No, I'm not going to put that on screen because that might terrify people. That very much has sort of kind of the same creepy vibes as the live action remake of Cats, like, or the movie remake of Cats. Like, yeah, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that with sheep.
But it's very apropos what we're going to talk about today about Eve, right? Because it's this feeling of how come something was so much better 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even going to go there when you were saying that. I was thinking you were going to go for a sort of, how do I put it? Taking a jab at a certain thing coming in a collector's set. And how that
I mean,
looks.
there is lots of issues with the collector's set teams. But I mean,
I just mean the meme about the feeder.
We're not there yet.
I will say that I had one amazing experience on my new PlayStation because I bought the bundled one with Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh, okay.
So that was quite an experience.
The single player on that is going to be great. Like the campaign.
The campaign mode on that is out of this world good, but I feel like I've been edged because you get 8 hours of amazing fucking game content and then it's like over. It's like done.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? This is the best part of this game. Why did you not make more of this?
Which game is that?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The campaign mode is just amazing.
It's the redone version.
It's like a 8-hour movie or series. It's so fucking good.
Isn't that the game that recently issued an apology for using Russian opponents?
Did they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, I guess. Yeah.
Something about if we'd known, we would have gone for dangerous people.
Oh, Jesus.
Fired.
Oh, jeez. I would like to say, by the way, thank you very much, Roderick, for the sub. 53 months. Thank you very much, dude.
Yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago, but
I know.
thank you.
You guys were talking. I didn't want to interrupt this up, so, but
just Kool-Aid Man it. Just kick it in.
Yeah.
But there's
apparently a big fight going on somewhere.
I mean, it's probably is it?
Yeah,
like
but what's happening in Eve?
Or
It's like 20. It's 2,500 people somewhere.
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, I mean,
yeah, it's not like 1,000 here.
Well,
I mean, it's quite easy. Just jump onto Ezekiel and just watch the stream kind of fucking flow in.
Oh, you're right. Let's go check that out.
2VF.
You're able to put that on screen, aren't you?
Maybe.
Venal?
I'm gonna go with Venal.
That shows the kill meals.
What, show the kill meals?
No, the map that shows.
Oh yeah.
Kill activity. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the amount of scorpions from P-Horde that have died in Venal. That might be a good guess.
Man,
that's not that.
Guardian.
That's the 20th anniversary thing. Here, let me just grab the. Let me get it on the actual proper fucking thing.
Fuck your scorpions. Oh my god, they're such jackasses. When you're trying to logi and then the entire scorpion wing, not like one or two, like 5 of them just jam you, you're like, well, all right.
So if anybody hasn't seen this, and I'm fairly certain nobody has, people use the killboard for various different things, but like the killboard does have this really kind of cool feature, and they've had it for years, right? At this point in time, they've got this map feature that literally shows hotspot locations where like stuff is dying, and it does it in real time. So, that's the kind of cool thing about it. So we'll have that going. We'll have that kind of going. It's kind of cool. It's I do like it for sure. But yeah, it looks like it's in Venal or somewhere near Venal.
EK2 ET.
Yeah, this kind of area right here. Involving Horde, it seems.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see in the top. Yeah, you can see in the top.
Carneros just got the final blow on a scorpion.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing there's like 7 dead scorpions already.
Good job, Carneros.
Yeah,
we should ping Carneros to get him to come and say what's going on.
I think there's 8.
I think he's busy at the moment.
You might be involved in something like that.
Listen, with 2,500 people, tie-day's definitely hit. You're not that busy, I promise.
Exactly. You only need to do something every 10 minutes.
Yeah, not 10. It's probably only 30% tie-day. So every, 30 seconds.
Yeah, shit's kicking off obviously in Venal.
No, it looks like shit's getting wrecked right now. And somebody just did a gank in Bullet. I apologize to whoever died in Boillair. I see 3 dead tornadoes by Concord in a row. So somebody just got murdered.
I don't know, maybe somebody got murdered. Maybe somebody got murdered. Maybe it was a fail.
I don't see any other deaths though. So if from Boillair, so they might have fucked it up. Fuck you guys. Stop killing mission runners.
They might not have actually gotten the guy. Yeah.
I don't see that they got him, but I just happen to notice that I have been killed in. I was running Futanainen. I was running, and my golem got sniped by tornadoes. I undocked, looked at YouTube just to click a button, looked back, and all of a sudden I'm in red and then dead. And I'm like, what happened? But so I try to be more careful undocking. I have been attacked twice like that. The one time I died because I didn't turn anything on. The second time they didn't shoot correctly. Like one of them didn't shoot when the other 2 did. So I was able to turn on my hardeners and then dock up.
Well, you know what you should use in that, or now you know what you should be able to use or should use in this situation. These
scorpions are definitely just going down, aren't they?
No, yeah, and so are the guardians from P-Horde too. I haven't seen a goon death yet.
Should probably use a T2.
That might not be what they're shooting at, because I've seen some fraternity deaths.
Do you think Horde is shooting frat?
I don't know.
I doubt that. Because the Horde frat is dying to Brave and goons.
Yeah.
And the Horde is only dying to goons. Are they that bad? Wait.
I see some Brave.
I see what died in Boillair. It just came up. A Vargur died in Boillair. So sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, never mind. He didn't need the lance from the TT dread then.
It just was delayed.
Yeah. 5 tornadoes got him.
Yeah. I love watching ZKL. You can learn so much. You can kind of get an idea of what's going on around the game. Anyways, so I guess there's a big fight going on. While that's happening, we'll let you know if we see anything else interesting coming from it. Yeah. What is new in the game? You guys were talking about some weird 20th anniversary thing that I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, so there was did cover it like a few episodes ago because, obviously CCP had kind of said something around the 20th anniversary collector's edition, which is this little thing right here, right?
Oh, there's a dead rogue finally.
And it was very much a case of when we covered it, it was basically redacted entirely, and the things but there was still plenty of stuff to talk about with regards to how terrible it was, because there were a whole bunch of like really absurd and kind of colossally dumb decisions with regards to how this was being sold, right? Like, firstly, it was, where was it? Like, it was a pre-order, right? Which once it's over, will take 8 to 9 months after the pre-order for the actual stuff to be for the stuff to be actually shipped,
The Megathron
which is
part
just
of it,
nuts, right? Like,
Well, I think we agreed, didn't we, that someone forgot to check it with Elise for editorial content.
yeah, but then the other thing, which was almost, I mean, I don't know whether you guys like checked this up to see whether it was illegal or not, but all orders are considered final and cannot be cancelled. Like, I'm certain that breaks some kind of law.
It does not. So no, you have. There's tons
maybe
of
not.
things
Maybe
that
not
are,
in the US, but there are internet. There's
no. So like, okay.
There's customer sort of protections in other countries.
Correct. We have those here too. But if they say that there's no refunds, no substitutions, they are still legally required to give you your product. And if they don't, you can do a chargeback or something else. So they are in a contract. They have to give you your shit.
Would they accept a chargeback after 9 months?
Yeah. Of course they would. Okay, if motherfuckers can get a chargeback on Windows we installed 10 months ago that we did install because they're upset that one of them is cracked and get a successful chargeback done, yes, they can get this fucking chargeback.
But that's down to the fact that there's a guarantee associated with those products that lasts like a certain amount, like a year. And if there's a problem with that product, then you can get
the same thing here. If you don't get it, if you're not getting it, you can get a chargeback.
No, that's not the point, Dawn.
But that's not like
the point is there is a 14-day refund period in the UK and EU. That is
going to take
not
9 months.
So
after 3 months, can you cancel your order?
Theoretically, yes. What they're doing. So this is something that come up that I learned a little bit about the other day because of Prusa with the Mark IV shipping out and a lot of delays on that. A lot of companies over here can't actually hold your money for as long as that without shipping a product and take the full money up front. They can only take a deposit. Prusa are fine because they're under the 90-day window most often.
Yeah.
9 months? I don't know. Yeah, so in the UK, hell, that statement alone on their website could be considered illegal.
Yeah.
Because even just saying no refunds except where goods are faulty is illegal.
Does this confirm that the suspicion we've had for a while that the legal team in the CCP is actually non-existent?
That's not CCP.
No, this is the other company, which is a US one.
But like, you'd at least expect. I mean, you'd hope, not expect. Maybe you'd at least hope that CCP would do their due diligence and check out the, particular company's responsibilities and their policies with regards to selling stuff, right?
Don't comment on that, Arrendis. That was bait.
I would like to point out something that seems to be a rare occasion. There is a Northern Coalition fleet out there.
Oh.
NC undocked?
Yeah, they killed one rogue.
Oh. Holy crap.
What are they in? Tempest Fleet issues.
Well, there's a shock.
What? A fraternity has paladins. That's a bold choice. See how that works out. They've lost a bunch of them already. P Horde is in Tempest Fleet issue as well. Oh, but NC may just be mixed in with the P Horde fleet. They probably don't have their own because, dead cool.
I don't know if it was Mac or whoever. Was it you actually, Arrendis, who said about the 9 month and refunds?
Well, I mean, what I was wondering,
a bunch of us said different things about that. So
yeah. So the question
was it you that said the thing with the A in it?
God damn it. Basically, the UK and EU law is 14 days from receipt of goods for refund. So, yeah, you can refund it by law. the entire time it's under pre-order. Unless they're playing it under a certain rule here where personalized and custom-made items are not eligible unless faulty.
Yeah.
Nothing in that says it's custom made.
No. But they are made to order. The whole point of the pre-order is getting a number to then make them to ship them, right?
Yeah, which
I commend.
What I noticed with with how they sell stuff is if it's just a physical good, then there's some kind of returns policy and some kind of like refund policy. But if it's a digital good, or if it's like a mixture of physical and digital goods, they apparently have this policy that essentially they can't that they won't accept refunds or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Starscream, that's what I'm considering, is if they figure they've got a loophole there.
So
they might.
Let me see if I can find it.
Or they might just be dumbasses.
Or that.
Yeah. I think it was on their frequently asked questions. Like, can I cancel my order? Yeah.
But if you don't cancel it, then you, my friend, can get what appears to be a premium Megathron blueprint poster that's like the size of a piece of paper.
Honestly, I mean, what's the opinions of people here of what's in it? Because, I mean, that's the next question.
I mean, yeah, well, that was the other thing, right? Because, like, there was also... I did notice that there was somebody who'd posted an unboxing of the 10th anniversary edition. And to be completely honest, looking at the 10th anniversary edition and this... sorry, not the 10th anniversary. It's the second decade anniversary edition. Was like...
Yeah, that's the 10th.
Yeah. It was like, you know what? That's so much better comparatively to this for some reason. Like
I
the way
will
that
say,
I feel. Anyway.
I will say that I'm glad that this time the ship is not also trying to be a USB hub.
Well,
because that Richter USB hub is a terrible USB hub.
I mean, it is a terrible USB hub, yes.
And it
but
was
at least,
the moment it came out of the box.
Yeah, exactly. But like the thing is, at least it lit up. At least it kind of had some kind of cool lighting effects and stuff.
That's true. It did have lighting effects.
And the thing is, like, that's one of the thing about like, you know, what I would consider to be a deluxe ship model, right? Would be if it actually had lighting effects, right? Like, if you want to go all overboard, right, you would have like sound effects as well that you could set off, right? But lighting effects.
Oh man, imagine if you could push a button at the base and it went pew 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 with blaster noises.
Exactly, that'd be pretty decent. But like, as far as I can tell,
imagine if you could push a button at the base and it went pew pew pew.
Imagine if it didn't have. Imagine if it had a base but didn't have like a little thing that attaches it to the base, and like you just dropped it and it levitated.
No, think about it, Mac. You push the button, and you hear boat going pew pew pew.
I mean, I like Meppa's idea for the ship. Actually, do we know who the model of the ship is even from?
I mean, I don't think they've said.
Some guy's basement.
I don't think they've said.
Like, I was just thinking about it, and it occurred to me that the old company's gone, right? That was doing it.
Well, there was a Chinese company that was doing it as well, which would make you really, really cool models of it, right? But like
Kasaki, yeah,
and that was really, really cool. They had some really cool stuff, but like I haven't seen or heard anything from them for a long time.
Kasaki seems to have gone quiet.
Yeah.
I believe they're still doing some stuff in China only, but I tried reaching out to them back along for STLs for printing myself, and I heard nothing back.
Yeah.
If it was a Kasaki model in it,
that might be.
I'd actually probably buy it.
Yeah, because they actually did do really cool shit. But that's the thing, we don't know much about it, and like if I can be completely honest here, aside from the print, like that is the single largest, most sort of valuable thing in the whole box, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, you guys can have other opinions out there. Like that's fine. You know, you might like the plushie, you might not like the plushie, you may like the print a lot more than anything else. Like but like in my opinion, of all the things that's there, the Megatron 3D model is the highest ticket item in that whole thing. And as all we know about it is, it's a deluxe 8-inch Megatron ship model, and we have a picture of it, and that's it. We don't know. We don't have a nice like close-up view of it. We don't know whether it lights up or not. As far as we know, it doesn't light up. It could light up.
I mean, I'm going to presume it doesn't light up.
That's the thing.
My reason for asking was do we know if it's plastic or metal?
No, we don't even know that.
That was it. I read Mecca's comment of imagine if it was made from polished metal. And my thought was, if it was polished metal, okay, I can understand some of the price tag there.
Yeah.
Not that it's cheap to paint even plastic models, but yeah, once you start to go in metal models, goddamn.
Then you're in like, I mean, yeah, like you could do some pretty cool shit with that. Like, plus, I could understand the shipping costs and all that kind of stuff associated with a metal model, right? As well, because I also saw some of the duty costs as well associated with the box that people were throwing up, like screenshots of some of the duty costs that they had, like purchasing this, and it was like, Jesus Christ, like €50 just for duty was, I think, was kind of insane.
It's coming from the US, right?
I think. I mean, yeah, because limited run it is US based, so it has to come from the US, right?
Yeah. So goodness knows what the.
So when you're looking at like a price of $175, right? But you with shipping and with import taxes and that kind of stuff, like you're hitting 250. It's like, Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah. I mean, how big is it? 8-inch model?
Yeah, it's an 8-inch model.
I mean, it's okay. You're not making up for the rest of the art in there.
Yeah, well,
you could kind of buy a 3D printer and print your own for that price.
Exactly.
I think they did.
That's probably what they did. Oh God.
Or you could buy what I was a little bit perplexed about when I just got my PS5. You can now buy a full-size, completely looking like the original Commodore 64 with pre-installed 80 games from back then. This is like the most nostalgic thing I have ever seen in my life. I was very close to buying it, but I remember the quality of the games and I've played most of them, so I thought maybe not.
Well, I will say that, like, in this picture of everything that comes with the 20th anniversary collector's edition, I kind of feel like something there is not, there's like one item there that kind of looks a little bit not like it should be there. I don't know if any of you kind of think that there might be there might be one thing that seems a little bit out of place.
But there's one thing in that whole pack that would make me consider buying it, and that's actually the plushie.
And it's probably the one thing that Matt's going to say is out of place.
It really is out of place. Like,
I don't care. It is the coolest and funniest thing in the entire package. The rest is, in my opinion, slightly mediocre, and I've gotten swag at FanFest that is better.
Yeah, but you've got all the different pins, right? But the thing is, I mean, I've got pins from player
They're not
groups.
even good
Like
pins.
they're not
They
like
look
I don't want to say that
ugly.
like, I don't want to say that like, you know, swag from player groups is bad in any way, shape, or form, but like, you know, there's a degree, you expect a degree of like, you know, some really good shit when it comes to an actual professional company putting together a really cool kind of anniversary pack, right? Like, and I don't consider like, you know, pins to be, you know, to equate to like decent shit in a 20th anniversary collector's edition.
You see, I'm here like nothing there. I would say is bad. Right?
No, yeah, nothing there. Like nothing there is super bad. I have my reservations
not
about
even
the
that.
plushie,
It's
but like, is it worth
even
the ticket price?
Plushie's a fun little thing. I think that's my issue more than anything.
Because when you
the ticket
because when you look back
not
at the
what's in
10th,
it.
when you look at back at the second decade, the 10th anniversary edition, right? Like, you've got some cool shit, like some stuff that actually like you get some decent time out of. And I've played like, so for example, Danger Game, right? You may not think that like that's too much, right? But I've played Danger Game. It's actually really entertaining as a game.
I mean,
as a board
it did
game.
Finance Eve, so
Exactly, it financed Eve
they had to have done
for
something
a reason.
right.
For God's sake, the granny in the granny on the sort of like on the front, right, or the artwork for it, right, like is no word in a lie, is like the current Iceland president.
Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly. He dressed in drag for it, like back in the day. But regardless of like that kind of stuff, the actual game, the actual board game, is actually surprisingly good, like surprisingly entertaining, to be honest. You know, so you got an entire game, like an entire board game to play with friends, right? Which and a very entertaining game as well. You've got an entire art book, right, full of art from the game, right? You've got your, you know, what Arrendis said previously, the Rifter model that is a USB hub, which, although is a terrible USB hub, lights up, right? Which is cool, you know, and a whole bunch of like, obviously a whole bunch of digital goods, and obviously the mystery code, which, you know, was basically gave you like things, you know, sporadically throughout the decade as such. I think they used it like 3 times for various different things.
Yeah.
Well, there is going to be digital
credit
stuff.
to them.
There is
you're
digital
also getting
stuff,
skins. You know, you're getting some ship skins.
And I would say that ship skin I'm never entirely certain how to pronounce his name, but like Tamba or Tiamba. I'm not sure. Tamba. I'll say Tamba. Yeah.
It's cool.
I will say this: they're going deep on the Megathron this time.
Yeah, they did. But like, I would say that if there's more potential skins and like, you know, skin tech coming from Tamba, from CC, you know, through CCP, then that is interesting, because I know that there's been some really fucking out there, like, you know, skin designs that I'd love to see in the game. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that is not actually part of the package, but makes me more look forward to the future, is if they get Tamarind to do more stuff.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Right. Get him in to do the AT victory skins.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's my big question to CCP though. What if I don't fly a Megathron?
There is that, isn't there? I mean, there are 2 other skins, but they're not from town.
No, but I mean, like, just the whole package. What if I'm not really into the Megathron?
Yeah, you got a Megathron like 3D model.
What
Megathron
if I'm more like, you know,
skin.
Raven or Scorpion kind of guy, you know?
Then you're out of luck.
Out of luck, man. Unfortunately.
Oh, crazy do. I presume that's how you say your name in chat. Tamba is Caldari Pony Club, who posts all the skin mock-ups to Reddit.
I was trying to find the skin mock-ups, like obviously the I think the classic one that people know of is the Hello Kitty Rifter skin, right?
Yeah.
But there's a
that.
bunch of others, right? I've been trying to find them, but like, yeah.
I still find
It's
it
been
really
kind of-
strange that they never hired him in some sort of level. It's very, very strange. He's been
There's
doing
a-
this for more than a decade.
Maybe they just
and it's
couldn't
like,
pay him enough to get him to move to Iceland.
there's
Could
this
honestly
thing
be
called
something.
remote work.
That doesn't mean CCP was willing to let him do it.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
So there was the particular skins that I was talking about or mentioned was sort of referring to were like the skins that actually look like fur and stuff like that. The actual like there was a Megathron with a furry cow skin or something like that. Like,
Now we're back
and I
to
was
the
just like,
Megathron
that would be really cool, like in game, like you know, texturally would be really cool.
Mhm.
I just can't find the actual image of it anymore. Like that's the thing that's really annoying me right now. And I would go to the was it Event ship skin viewer model viewer, but I don't think it has it, and it doesn't seem to want to work for some reason. I might need to, you know.
No, in
I think
one
I
of
need-
his Reddit posts.
Hmm?
It probably would have been one of his Reddit posts.
Yeah. If any of you guys out there know it or have a URL for it, whatever, like chuck it into, and you know, either chuck it into chat or let me know in chat, and then we can like, you know, permit like, you know, exclamation point permit you to post URL, because I know that the bot in chat actually does, you know, strike people down with great vengeance and furious anger if they do try and put a URL in there, unless you're obviously like a moderator. So, you know, just you guys know. But I was just gonna quickly check EK. EK there seems to still be stuff going on in EK in Venal, so you know,
Yeah.
still shit
Yeah.
is dying.
I just think that they missed the opportunity by going so hard on the Megathron. Like if they'd given like the option of pick one of these 4 battleships, like
that
done,
would be
you know,
good.
different racial ones, they could have potentially sold multiple of these things to people.
But and to be honest, if they're doing what we think they might be doing, which is, you know, having a very really decent 3D printer, right, printing very fine models of this, right, they could have multiple, because the thing is, as we know, right, like they're putting pre-orders, like they're setting up pre-orders to be fulfilled in like 8 to 9 months. You got so much time to set it up.
It's not like they don't have the 3D models of these things.
It's not like you have to have a set amount done so you can fill orders straight away. Like you've got 9 months. Like
the only issue with the existing models around this is they are fairly low poly to use.
they're I mean,
rounded surfaces are not rounded. They are. You can see the vertices.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you use
they've got higher poly models that they use for trailers.
And they're working in collaboration with CCP. CCP can provide them the most highly detailed models that they need. As well. So
I mean that's what I mean. Like CCP has the high definition 3D models for these things. They can just give them to these print shops to work up the printing files.
I would honestly love CCP to just put those files out there publicly anyway, because you know.
It'd be great.
Then how are they going to sell collector sets?
They hold back certain ones for limited edition versions, and they paint them in special skin colors.
Have you met the Kit Bash community?
True. True. But yeah,
So,
I don't know. It's
slightly more high definition pictures of the Megathron as such. I would say that is an interesting place to put the stand. Like
that's very far back.
right on the far back. Like, why do I feel like this was why do I feel like this was a Photoshop?
No,
I really feel like this was a
looks-
Photoshop.
It
No,
looks like
I'm
it
willing
is
to bet
because
it's
that
there
model looks
because
like
that's
the
where the
old
model
company's
is.
model.
I'm willing to bet it's back there because that's where the model is most solid in the center.
That would also be true.
I mean,
yeah.
I would, yeah, but you can move it a little bit forward. Like, you can go.
You could,
like,
and it could be split to sink into either side there, but
it just to me it kind of feels like, oh, that will be structurally not that sound, putting it all the way back there in terms of
I can sum up the real danger of that easily.
Okay, cats.
I have a cat.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Cat's gonna come at it, and it's that support's
Not even gonna come at it. Not even gonna come at it. It's gonna be the I'm gonna stick my head under here and see what I can do to rub. Oh, that feels really crunch.
Or be halfway under there and then get freaked out by something and just
and just like start thrashing to get it off.
Or the classic thing that cats do is like, oh, you seem to like to have this on a smooth on a stable surface. I'll just push it off this stable surface. Think.
Right, and
then it just looks at you like, are you happy?
What did I do? Like,
well, you're the one who put it there. Exactly. If you didn't want it on the floor, you shouldn't have put it above the floor.
Oh, as cats always do. Christ. But yeah, so that's the model. That's the 8-inch Megathron model. These are the skins. The middle one is obviously the Tiamba skin or Tamba skin. The other two are not Tamba skins, but other associated skins. So I guess if you didn't like them,
loosely based on it.
Loosely, very loosely.
I mean,
just black and gold.
Just
black and gold. But
just without the highlights that Tamba's done for the rest.
Yeah, but the Megathron definitely looks like black, white with gold kind of trim and lighting effects and stuff. Like the others just look like black and gold and that's it. I don't know. I like to be fair, I like the Megathron, so I'm not too fussed at all. But then again,
I like the Megathron too. I think it's a good looking ship, but
not everybody likes it. So
not everybody likes it.
Other people
it's a weird decision.
I know that if Sothrasil was here, he would much prefer a Macarial.
Yeah.
You know what? There would be something here with that skin.
Right.
Because I know Tamba can do it, right?
Well, we know Tamba can do it, but whether it's CCP can do it? That's the issue.
Well, I'm presuming they're taking what he's done and putting it in client, right? I'm presuming it's that easy to take across. If it's not, then the art team needs to do work. We know they have the possibility to make skins work on every ship.
Yeah.
That would be the awesome thing here. Just one skin designed by Tamba that works on everything.
That would be cool.
The first, probably the only.
We have kind of seen that it's possible that they could do that because they had that that
I'm sorry,
where
Caleb,
they had
was there something that you've been waiting to dump on?
No, it's just I think it's fairly obvious. The people that have too much money for their own good will buy it, and the rest will say this is not value for money.
No, but the thing is, have those people dropped so much money on like the Apple augmented reality sort of thing, and don't have much money from that like left over.
Wasn't the Megathron one of the ships that was available through the old ship model place? So the people who have more money than they know what to do with probably already have one if they wanted one.
Indeed. Well, I was just thinking whether we were going to talk about the thing that came out after we had the last episode, right?
You make me wonder.
That was this did too, but
you make me
Yeah,
wonder
but
now.
I was thinking of the stream that CCP did.
You're making me wonder now.
Talk about that today.
You make me wonder whether this model is actually just old stock.
Overstock?
Just old stock.
I don't think they do that.
I don't know. Like, I don't have I don't have one of them from the old store. So like, I couldn't look at it and look at this and go, yep, that's the same skin. Well, that's the same kind of thing.
Like, looks similar. But I would say that they're probably just using a placeholder before they make
the image looks similar
because it's a default.
But it's a Megathron.
It's a default Megathron. Yeah, that might be the case.
But
if you're gonna do a really
this
cool
model of the pyramids looks like that model of the pyramids.
Well, I think my main take here is that
they're both very triangular.
There's really only been 2 events in EVE history where the merchandise was somewhat interesting, and it was the floating Nyx.
That never happened. Yeah,
that never happened. Then of course it was the anniversary box that we got last, which was not bad. It was actually decent value for money, and ever since then, all merchandise from CCP has been below mediocre, right? It's always been horrible, and they've been really, really bad at figuring out how to make money on merchandise, even though they have an amazing IP to actually do it. But they keep partnering up with something that's either ridiculously too expensive, not enough profit margin, and they don't understand how profit margin on merchandise seems to work. It seems like they don't want to make money on this, or they don't want to hire the people that could make money on this. And then we could get into the whole digital merchandise and shop thing as well, and talk about very old stories of pants being extremely expensive. It's just CCP has been really terrible on this since day one. They've never really succeeded in it, and this is just another proof.
And just so you know, that's the floating Nyx, by the way. With as I might add, lighting.
Lights.
And that's just such an obvious Torfy France pie in the sky thing. It's like, let's make something completely incredible, completely expensive, like out of this world that you can all buy.
Well, they had
a lot of people.
They had the mock-up. They had the display piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there actually like?
But I think they also back then, right? I think they had an employee that was an expert on things like merchandise and stuff, and I think his comment would be, that thing is very good for brand, but not really a profit maker. That thing will never make us money.
Well, the problem is it was the other company that wasn't making money, so they didn't actually put it in production.
Yeah, it was a fun project, but silly.
It was that, and it was difficult to manufacture, which was, the one and the same in a way.
Especially to an audience that I think we have a really high percentage of people in the player base that has very distinct quality requirements when it comes to things like models of different kinds. Let's just say that I don't think anyone in the EVE audience will be surprised at the Games Workshop references and Warhammer and whatnot. So I don't think you can sell them bullshit.
You've got to make quality. Yeah. You
do. Otherwise, they're going to get really mad.
I mean, Games Workshop tries to sell bullshit all the time.
True.
Yeah, but they succeed.
And they do have some high quality stuff that's completely ridiculously priced, but that's.
But they've tapped into the Warhammer crowd, and once you've done that successfully, you're there.
And again, I think we started this by mentioning that they should have put a Lego thing in there instead. That would have been a success. And I'm pretty sure that the Lego factories could deliver the fucking product they needed.
Even if it was a collection of the, like, you know, the 10 or the best, like, what is it, like 10 brick.
Well, and the only caveat would be that Arrendis would point out, just don't break it.
They could have done like the Lego Advent calendars, where they include like a whole bunch of really tiny mini ships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just the Lego
I will
Rifter,
say this,
if anything, right? I
will
would
say
have
this,
loved
though,
to get a Lego Rifter.
I will say this though, all right? So this whole thing is 175 US. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pre-tax.
Pre-tax, which gives you an 8-inch long Rifter, an 8-inch long Megathron. Right? For 75 US, I can get a 14-inch long Super Star Destroyer from Lego. I'm just saying.
You already did that, didn't you?
I mean, he's got the TIE Fighter.
No, I did actually order the small Super Star Destroyer, the 40th anniversary one, yeah. But that is actually going to be a Christmas present for someone. So I don't feel
someone else
I would also
has a Macarial on the way. That's a 14-inch long Macarial.
Yeah.
So I would also
that'd be to scale with the Megathron then.
I would also like to point out, actually, as well, with this anniversary collector's edition is, you know, we now know all of the redacted stuff, right? Which obviously includes 5 socket ships, Genolution implants, exclusive skins, Metamorphosis BVC run. The socket ship is a Society of Conscious Thought, guys. It's not the what were the ones that, like, people were thinking it was going to be? It was the Sisters of Eve ships. Like, I don't know why, but some people thought it was the Sisters of Eve ships, but it's not. It's like the Society of Conscious Thought ships, which are basically like, you know, the Gnosis, all that kind of stuff, right? That particular ship line, right?
Just to be clear, you mean the ones that we just got given the login campaign?
The ones they keep giving people for free, yes.
They keep giving people for free that basically are not really worth much at all at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right? There's a litany of them available. Like, I lost count of how many I have on my various...
Praxis, Gnosis, yeah.
All of those, right?
I mean, let's just say running an SP farm is productive in that.
I'd like to point out that it's got digital goods, right? You know, in-game stuff, right? It doesn't have any Plex in it whatsoever. And you know the thing that you know the reason why that, like, to me that sounds like that may seem a little bit, you know, a little bit of a nitpick, but like, what I would say is when you're selling something for $175 and it says game not included, that doesn't look good. At least say, you know, at least put like 1 month of game time, and then you can kind of go, you know, Eve 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition, 1 month game time included.
Well, and I will just say, if they had put a Lego Rifter in this pack, I would have bought it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely.
Anyway,
and yes, it's expensive, but I would definitely say then I would want this, because it would basically go next to my USB Rifter.
Yeah, right, Matt. What I was going to quickly say is it could be worse. It could be that they'd put the Triglavian ships in there, not socked ships, without any game time.
I mean,
you've got to be an Omega to fly them.
Oh no, that would be a good
that
point.
Would be a
That would be a bit of an arsehole move.
I do want to point out one of the.
Whoa!
Although you can't use your Megathron skin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. You can fly a battleship as an alpha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, eventually.
Everything there is Tech 1 alpha flyable.
Right.
Which I can respect. They haven't done this. Hey, look, you're going to get skins for ships you can't fly unless you stay sub to the game.
Well, I think to comment on MEPA, I would suggest that CCP put all the 3D printer files of all the frigates and all the battleships and all the cruisers on a USB stick so people can print them at home.
Talking about ships, right? I hate to sort of like, you know, veer us off on a sort of crazy ass tangent into something completely random, right? But apparently data fragments have been appearing.
Yes, let's go to that because I think we spent long enough talking.
Yeah, we have spent a fair amount talking about it. But you know, like we do like to beat a dead horse on this show, so that makes sense. But
there are other ones as well.
Well, yeah, it initially kind of came out as like a, you know, oh, is it a new capital kind of thing? Bearing in mind that, like, you know, we've been getting new capitals, and CCP has kind of been saying that, like, oh, they wanted to add new things to the capital gameplay, right? So, but it was talking about something called a Mamba class, which is kind of strange and weird. But like, it seems like it is. Oh, well, where was it? Like, it was a kind of variant of a Corax of some form.
Yes.
Which is
Corax or Cormorant, one of them.
Yeah. So.
And that was Garistas, right?
Yeah, it was a Garista pirate data log of some form, whatever it was. Like, but like, yeah, these are dropping, and obviously, you know, people can like pick it up, and it'll give you kind of somewhat coolish visuals. You can kind of tell a little bit that it's kind of a Corax, but yeah. Apparently these are out there to pick up, and if you find one of them, then definitely keep hold of it. And oh shit, what was the group that's kind of doing, like, collects that sort of stuff?
Arc or
Artaka? Is it? No, not
Artaka Research Consortium.
Yeah, there we go. Artaka Research. Yeah, get in touch with them. Let them know about it. Like, you know, collectively put all the fucking jigsaw pieces together, and yeah, we can figure out what the hell's going on.
Someone there mentioned a pirate Garistas Drake in those comments.
Oh yeah, no,
I can imagine it now.
That
because I would presume if they're doing pirate destroyers, they're probably going to do pirate battle cruisers at some point. Probably same time.
Possibly. Potentially, yeah.
Eventually, like, you know, another 5-10 years.
We'll get that for the fourth decade.
Yeah. We still won't have our angel capitals though.
Nope.
No, not at all. Never gonna happen.
I mean, are they the only ones missing out now?
Well, angels in terms of capitals.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, and SOE, I guess.
Kinda, sorta. I mean, they're the only one of the major pirate factions, put it that way. Because you've also got groups like the Equilibrium of Mankind and you know.
Oh, really small fringed ones.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I'm on about factions that have a ship line. I mean,
factions.
I guess I'm forgetting Edencom.
Yeah, already have.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, we got Sancha have the carrier. Blood Raiders have their Amarian knockoffs. Angels have nothing. Serpentis have Galente knockoffs. SOE have nothing. Mordus have nothing. So I guess, yeah.
What?
So.
Oh, you mean for capitals? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've obviously got Triggs have got stuff and nothing for Edencom.
Right.
So you got Edencom, SOE, Mordus, and Angels. What's that, 4? Yeah. 4 factions that still need stuff. And they're all the factions that have custom designs. Not just copy-pastes.
Yeah, but you could say that Edencom already has their super capital class ship.
Wait, Edencom? What?
Yeah. We've got an XL class Vortron projecting shit.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah, fine.
Keepstars. The Edencom Super Capital.
Completely immobile, but yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, when they came out, they were.
Look.
No.
It's an
Oh my
Edencom
God.
ship. It's generally going to be worthless in most fights, but when it's useful, it's really useful.
True. I mean, Starscream does make a point. We need more of a reason to undock for more caps to be added.
That's true.
I mean, does, putting Scarcon structures into hull count to that? Probably doesn't, because you can't get capitals in there.
Owns them?
So I'm not
Who owns
sure,
those
but
structures?
I'm not entirely certain, but
Right, but that's exactly the point. Who owns them? Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Give us reasons to care.
Saying all of this, it has made me think, have we seen Lancers used yet?
There has been some documented usage of Lancers, yeah, but they haven't actually been there to provide significant killing. Like, it's basically people you've been using it to sort of get on kills, or
To be like, look, I've got a Lancer.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
The classic early day.
It's gonna take a while
stuff.
before
And that's what I kind of mean
to
about this.
really.
Like, I wasn't sure if people rushed them on day one, and we were at that point already.
Yeah, here it is. I knew I had a tab somewhere that had some stuff regarding Lancers. Yeah, there's been some stuff, but and there has been a jump raider kill with a lance, but yeah, it's not exactly been the largest damage dealer with regards to this stuff. Although looks like some of them were final blows as such, but yeah.
So yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah. So it's been, I think it's going to take a little bit more time for for people in nullsec, large nullsec alliances to really utilize them in a very defined way, right?
Yes.
Because they're a very, very, very specific use case.
Just slightly.
Sorry?
It's going to be a bit before Asher decides now is the time to suicide a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. But definitely hasn't been the sort of unique combat strategy, meta shift that CCP had initially sort of said.
Well, it hasn't been yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still needs to hit a kind of point where
you need to have saturation before it really shows anything.
Yeah, that's very true. So
it's also stupid.
A bunch of things happened when we were away. You guys didn't realize.
Yeah.
One was the Barbie Keepstar.
Damn it! Yeah.
Barbie Keepstar. Wow.
It's a shame that it's not easier to edit your Alliance logo, because I could absolutely see that becoming the meme of changing the Alliance logo for a day as well.
Yeah, I don't think they'll allow that specifically. But yeah, considering that there's a Barbie movie coming out sometime soon, it's quite fitting.
When do we get the Oppenheimer Keepstar then?
Oh, Jesus Christ. We already had it. We already had the Oppenheimer Keepstar. It's dead. And it happened in Perimeter, remember?
That's fair.
Fuck's sakes. Fuck's sakes, Mike.
And if you want an interesting kind of viewpoint on that, let me see if I can find it. Christ, where is it? Hey, there we go. Nice little thing from Hollow Misses You. the Keepstar and Perimeter dying, and I would have put our own stuff on it up on the view screen for this, but I'm waiting for particular resources from particular people in order for me to actually finalize a video to go up onto YouTube, on INN's YouTube, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting.
Well, that's what you get.
So, here's us promoting other people's content because other people have been able to get their shit done, in a sufficiently speedy amount of time.
Look, man, it'll probably be the heat death of the universe before you get it.
It might well be, to be honest. But yeah, the Keepstar went through Hull, and where is it? There we go.
But the other XL structures in the Forge have survived.
So far, it seems.
Because the Goon War HQ got blown up.
Yeah.
What was our War HQ again?
The Sodio and Ashab.
Yeah.
Oh, so 2 are gone. I mean, that's a start.
Yeah, but
shame the rest aren't gone.
Right, and it basically forced a 2-week. Can't shoot at that shit now.
Yeah. Oh shit! I forget more deck mechanics like that now, aren't they?
And remember the reason why the Keepstar and Perimeter died was because Goblins had the highsec mechanics guidebook upside down.
Yeah, but the reason that losing the Ashab Sodio stopped the war is because Kazner basically went, it'd be funny. Yep.
Well,
totally funny, and now you can't shoot shit. Good job.
I'm sure going to figure out something else in another way to be able to shoot them. ASAP.
Oh, I'm sure they will. The solution is obvious, and it's been there for months at least, years really. But
I mean, Billy has said that he expects the stuff, the XL structures in.
Oh, I know,
around
but
there
that
to
didn't.
Die.
But that didn't stop the TTC from putting out a your stuff is safe. We will begin trading in markets out of these other structures now. They will serve the forge area.
Yep. And he's said about it's going to be 0 taxes. Well, it's going to be 0 taxes only for a certain period of time because he's going to ramp those taxes up. And he's said it. Billy has literally said that he is going to be putting those taxes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not only that, but the
you say that, I want to get it was the
there was also
MER stable, right?
There was an MER, yeah. There was an MER. Sure.
I believe Angry had a look, and
he did.
There might not actually be that much trade going on in the TTC stuff anyway.
Yeah. So
especially for skill injectors and stuff, which seem negligible.
Well, there was also a change that kind of happened that I think riled a few people up at least, which is that the NPC SCC fee for I guess it doesn't really, it isn't in relation to sort of market orders, but manufacturing MENTE research now have a SCC fee increase of quite a bit in comparison to what it was before, obviously. But when it comes to sort of actually putting down market orders for things like Plex and skill injectors and stuff, there's definitely been people who've been kind of saying, I'm gonna err on the side of caution and do it in jitter rather than some other random place, like player controlled stuff. So
places that can't blow up,
places that cannot blow up, and you don't lose a shit ton of market orders, right?
Yep.
Or in market order fees.
Honestly, it's better for everyone to keep that shit in Jita anyway.
I mean, I definitely thought that, like when it initially came in, I was like, what, really? You're like the highsec or the sort of like, the power sort of like the factions in highsec that control highsec are allowing people to just, undercut their markets. The fuck? I thought that was just, I don't know. I thought that was from at least from a law
I'm not
perspective.
biting, Mac. Forget
I
it.
just no, I know.
I'm not biting on this.
I'm not trying to bait you on this. I'm literally just saying that, like, from a
Well,
law
I mean,
perspective,
it's not like
it just
they
seemed like
really...
an absurd idea. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just allow this group of like fuckwits to to undercut our markets by being able.
Well,
it's not
like they allowed it. There were guys who tried to do their own player-run markets in the Forge area, and they basically had large coalitions from nullsec come and put guns up against their forts and go, "You're gonna cut us in now."
No, but what I mean is, like, say for example like Caldari and Amara and stuff like that. Like, from a law perspective, them allowing players.
Oh, well, from a lore perspective,
from a law perspective, them being able.
From a lore perspective, it makes absolutely no sense, except CCP.
Yeah, exactly. Except CCP's like, fuck it, like, let them do it.
Right. I mean, I'm willing to bet the story team had absolutely no say in that. Like, they probably would have gone, yeah, does this make... Shut up? Okay.
This does not make logical sense from a law. Shut up. We're doing it anyway. That would, it would have probably been a Ratati / like Kilmar, like, you guys shut the fuck up with this is happening.
Yeah.
Because it does also sort of smack very much of, we just need these citadels out now, because they did rush the shit out of those citadels.
Yep.
When they were released.
And all the important parts never got implemented because all the null utility basically got prioritized before everything else.
Which important parts are you thinking about?
All the functionality that the null blocks wanted was prioritized higher than anything else. And a lot of the things were scrapped.
Which things are we talking about that got scrapped?
Well, things like actually balancing the things utility-wise, and, well, things like infinite slots on offices and building and shit like that some of us was pointing out this is going to be OP as fuck. But
I don't understand why infinite slots is a bad idea.
I don't think that was necessarily the null blocks want this, so it's going in. I think it was more of the people who are bitching, but we don't care.
Well, let's just say that the people that were screaming the loudest on what priority order things should be implemented in before actually launching them were basically the people that needed them for staging and null.
Well, sure.
I think the ones that were saying that this was probably a bad idea to release in the way that they wanted to be released in CCP were let go.
Well, no, I think the main problem with that is it's a valid argument that you want these things to at least have these types of functionalities in order so it can be used by the blocks that need them the most. That's completely valid. It's just that knowing CCP, you know that once they fucking launch something, they're never going to go back and fix the things that were then missing and under-prioritized. And that's why we ended up with something that could have been an amazing feature, but since we no longer had the executive producer that was responsible for the entire launch, well, then it never got around to phase 2, and all the planned things on the roadmap was basically just cancelled, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had some. I mean, there's still a lot of things that were planned as like additional things for all of the various different citadels, the structures.
Well,
and
it's why
stuff.
we
They
had
look really,
almost.
really cool, and we've
I think
never
I think
had
we
them
had
yet.
almost. I think we had almost. I want to say 5 years after the launch of all the stuff that came out around that time, where even the big null blocks were saying all of these things have been launched and in the completely wrong proportions and order, and you've basically broken the game.
It was also very much a case of where's the rest of the stuff, right? Like,
yeah, but it was
like,
also how wrong it was. It was really good ideas, horribly implemented, because no one listened to what you would consider the nitpickers and the naysayers, right? And I think the Goon financial team was basically laughing, saying, "Okay, you want to launch this way? We're going to break the game," and they did.
Yeah. It did kind of. I mean, Citadels did.
And then they tried to bring in an econ team to fix it, and everyone was going, "Oh, that sounds like a really potentially good idea." And then the people there didn't seem to understand what was broken and came up with really, really horrible ways to try and patch it. That sounded great in a dev block, and even in a CCP stream. But it's one thing saying that you want to fix something and just trust us, and then they end up doing the exact opposite, and they've basically taken the game backwards.
You remember Caleb, you remember way back when, like, you know, Ratati first came into the fray, and we were like, oh, actually, you know, he could actually save some stuff. He could actually fix the game.
Well, because he basically parroted what people were saying, and then he got his team to implement stuff that was never going to fix those problems, and he didn't prioritize the things that was most important.
Yeah, I started to lose my like my warm fuzzy feelings for what the potential of what Ratati might be able to do to the game when we, you know, actually had him on the show chatting.
Well, it just
because I definitely got the idea that he didn't really understand that he was, you know, the first thing that he needed to do was to understand the game and understand the systems and the processes and how it all fits together. And he just wanted to seemed like he wanted to just, you know, implement ideas rather than understand how whether those ideas would function.
And his ideas ended up feeling to me like, oh, you've just played other types of games, and now you're going to try to implement some of the same things.
Look,
you're going to try and find similar ways to monetize, and you're basically going to completely ignore the USP of EVE Online and scare away anyone that's dedicated to the game. And that's what he did.
It's no different than when a new management or new ownership team comes in at any company. We're going to make all these changes. Well, okay, those changes don't actually fit with the proper workflow. We don't care. We're going to make these changes. They're just going to make things worse. No, look, we're going to show you that this will make everything better and make us more profitable.
Yeah, we put together a survey, and these are the results, and so we're definitely going to go and do these. Even though
we're gonna downsize this department because it's not necessary. That's quality control.
Well, and I know that we joked about it, but when you're taking advice from, in my opinion, people that are small potatoes in industry instead of high-end, long-running industrialists like TNT, well, you're basically going to end up with shit.
Well, thankfully, you know, Hilmar has got a bunch of like high-level industry dudes, you know, speaking his ear off about crypto. So that's good.
If you as a developer listen to people like Kennethfeld and people like Dunk Dinkle instead of people like Aerith and Wibbler and the logistic teams of Goon,
I don't think
you're just going to end up breaking the game. You're going to take all the things that make the game intricate and complex and worth actually returning to, all of that is going to go away, and you're going to end up with the same issue that all the other MMOs out there has, right? Of course, EVE's not completely broken.
I don't think that Dunk ever presented himself as a subject matter expert.
Well, but the types of presentations and stuff that he did as a CSM member is definitely, in my opinion, the direction that applauded CCP for things that were terrible for the actual game. And I know, well, but it's convenient and it speeds things up and it makes it easier to play the game. Yeah, but EVE Online is never supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be a struggle. That is why it has the longevity of several years/decades for each player. And it's not something you go in, play for 2 years, maybe tops, and then you fuck off like all the other MMOs out there.
But I think there was certain things that were definitely introduced into EVE that really did, like, I mean, I wouldn't say erode that, but basically decimated that kind of thing, right? Like, and one of them was definitely the skill extractors and injectors.
You make the game quick where it's supposed to be slow, and you make it slow where it's supposed to be quick. You make it complicated where it's supposed to be easy, and you make it easy where it's supposed to be complicated. You are completely doing these things upside down. And I think that's like the takeaway from my entire experience with EVE Online. The game started out the first 3 years growing into something interesting, and then the rest has just been CCP doing upside down and backwards thinking ever fucking since, to the point where they need to emergency go in and try and fix it.
So Caleb, like, do you think that, like, they got really the wrong end of the stick when somebody said, like, oh, you need to get rid of needless complexity?
Well,
I really kind of feel like
that's what I meant with. So some things need to be complicated and other things need to be extremely simple and low effort. It's just that CCP kept adding tedium into things that are supposed to not have it and remove tedium from where it's supposed to be, right?
I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of your point regarding EVE development over the last several years. However, I would take issue with the idea that CCP was only doing things right for 3 years, because 17 years is a long time to fuck everything up.
Well, but what I'm saying is that they improved the game for a period that's fairly only in the beginning. Then they fixed some important, really huge issues post Summer of Rage, so it was still playable. And it takes a lot to destroy something that is, and this is going to make me sound like a huge fanboy, EVE Online is the closest thing that game developers in the world has ever come to create a sustainable MMO ecosystem and economy. It is the most profound concept ever created, and it had so many things that was, I think, more by accident than intent. I know that there was some intent from the initial concepts that weird dude that got fired basically put in there, and you could see that in the very early years of EVE. And then, of course, the EVE players broke a lot of his intentions. But aside from that, it is really, really difficult to completely destroy the close to perfect system that EVE Online has actually built.
I mean, when you go and play some other games and you come back to EVE, you do get like a sense of perspective. Like, you know, when you say that, like, oh, it's difficult to break EVE as such. Like, I mean, if you really wanted to try to do it, like, I've seen some companies, some games studios really wreck their own IPs very quickly.
Exactly.
You know,
we've talked about it before, right?
Like,
Sinks and Faucet, right? And Cycle of Life. Those two concepts are so well made in EVE with the way that it integrates into the entirety of the game.
Yeah,
that it is every single game that we have played outside of EVE Online.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking. I'm not even talking about like
they always break on that.
I'm not even talking about like games with like, you know, that try to do the sort of like consistent, you know, the economic kind of models and the persistent sort of thing. Like even games that, like, you know, don't have that sort of thing and just, let certain things happen, or just don't address certain things.
But it's not just
one of the things.
It's not just
one
the
of the things
economy. It's also the power progression, the speed and the end level stuff, and the granularity of all the bits from day one game to like 3 months in. Everything in EVE Online has been so well measured that it is really difficult to break it. And it took something like literal skill point injectors to break the design that existed, right? It was so well balanced. It's a bit like I know Arrendis likes to rip apart game design on a pen and paper level. This was basically all the right moves from day one, so it did not end up in horrible power creep and dilution of game stuff. Everything was so good initially that it was really difficult to undermine the fundamental design.
Well, there was also a major aspect of how EVE was put together that actually helped with that, which was very much along the lines of pretty much everything that happened in game was checked by the server. You look at like games like, and we may be going out on a tangent here in terms of talking about games to players of EVE Online, or talking about other games other than EVE to people who play EVE Online, but like other games that other than EVE Online have a tendency to not check stuff that happens between between clients, and that's where 99% of hacks and cheats come from. It is when a player ends up finding ways of being able to utilize or augment the client in some way, shape, or form to be able to do stuff that they're not meant to be able to do in the game, right? And most of the time that is done because either the client doesn't check or just believes in whatever the server just believes whatever the client kind of sends, and doesn't actually check to see whether it's within parameters or whether that information is correct in some way, shape, or form, because that takes time, that takes resources, and a lot of games require that kind of very quick responsiveness, whereas EVE is a bit more of a slower paced game in that regard. Like, yeah, there are moments, you do have a bit of a sort of experience of like thrill ride when it comes to sort of small gang warfare and stuff like that. But even so, you're not really in the realm of split-second decision-making or split-second sort of like movements or actions that define as to whether you're actually going to win or lose.
I'm just gonna comment on Meppa's remark there, because it is very obvious that you can just go and look at the stats, right? The number of players that have an interest and is actually actively playing EVE Online, this grew for the first 4 to 5 years, and then it's basically been a long progressive slump downhill, right? And that's really the problem with EVE. It has been getting worse and worse since the Summer of Rage. The ambition level, the design choices, everything has just been a slow death. You can say, well, but they're doing fine monetarily. Yeah, because they've gone progressively better at sucking out more and more money from the existing player base or the remaining player base. That does not show success of a product. It shows success of a business, but not of the product.
I mean, I do get where you're coming from, yeah. They
I'm
are trying to find
this on false
like they're
data.
trying to
I've
find
been
their
here for
mojo.
fucking 2 decades. I know exactly how this progressed, and I have been covering it on many shows, and many people have said exactly the same thing. And there's of course been a lot of people that disagree, but look at where we are. We are at a game that is basically very close to fucking sundown, because it is not competitive with the rest of the gaming industry anymore. It is not.
I wouldn't say sundown as such. Like it has seen much better days, and I know I can definitely see that, like, CCP is still trying to fucking find their mojo, like with regards to actually
for
putting
new
out
players, what
they
is going to make you want to play it?
They do have
new
decent
players.
stuff. Well, I mean,
new players
I'm
come
not
in,
I'm not a new player.
No, and they haven't. a gamer expectancy of maybe playing something for maybe a year, maybe two. That's it. That's their expectation. That's what they're producing for. And this is just they have so many other options out there where the games are magnitudes better if you're only looking to play something for 12 or 24 months. Way better expectation.
I want to ask.
But where else are you going to get an 8-inch Megathron?
That's
yeah. Oh god, sorry, I had to go away on that button.
Hey, welcome back. I did want to say though, right, Caleb? Like, you know, do you get like basically everybody, really, right? There has been this propensity.
I don't dislike CCP or Eve. I have basically been praising them to the fucking stars. They are the most impressive game developers ever. Compared to the size of the company, they have been punching above their weight.
Very unique kind of
forever. Yeah, but they keep making stupid, stumbling mistakes that they should not be making when they are such an old company. And I think it's because they have never focused on the distinction between what is supposed to be C-level and what's supposed to be developer level. They have never grown up as a company. That's their problem. They still have the best potential of creating amazing IPs. This is better than Star Wars and Star Trek and all that shit, in my personal opinion. CCP has created genius in a bottle, and they keep mismanaging it.
Anybody who thinks that Caleb hates Eve, I want you all to realize this is what you get when you push an absolute fanboy so hard, so long, he breaks. Caleb is the dude who is defending all of the bullshit for years against the rest of us. He's the guy who is sitting here going, oh, Battleship prices will drop. Battleship prices will drop any time now. So long that it became a meme for Soth, where Caleb would show up in Soth and just go, how are Battleship prices? Fuck you!
Oh, so fucking true. And to be honest, like, the other thing is, like, if Caleb didn't really like CCP and didn't like EVE Online, then he wouldn't be here, because like it's like one of those things that you hear from the thing that you used to hear from CCP Guard, right? Like, you know, people who are angry, like, you know, don't worry about like the people. If people are angry or people have strong opinions, you don't get mad about the things
you don't care about.
Yeah, exactly. When people are apathetic about the stuff that you're creating, that's when you need to worry.
And I can give you the best.
I heard this again recently as well, Matt, somewhere else.
Let me just give the best comparison, right? So in pen and paper, one of the best game designs I've ever experienced and ever played is the Weird West Wildlands, right?
Deadlands?
Deadlands, sorry. I was on PlayStation 5 in my brain. But Deadlands is such a perfect design that the fact that they moved away from the cards and the chips and all of that to, I think it was a D20 system. It's like, you have completely undermined your USP for the sake of a bigger audience, and you're not going to attract any of that audience with your title. And it's just, you cannot mismanage perfection like that. It's just a tragedy. And I feel like it's exactly the same that CCP has been doing for almost a decade. And I think it's a lot to do with the fact that the company never grew up and never had those second and third successes that they were supposed to have.
Bart?
Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the people being angry at that. I mean, that's a classic. It's come up again a bunch recently. Because it's not wrong. If people are pissed off and they're voicing frustrations, they're still at least somewhat interested.
Yeah, exactly.
When
they
silent,
still care about
when
it.
they're gone, they're gone for good. You ain't getting them back.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when they're apathetic about the what's happening in your game, that's the very concerning part, because then they've kind of like they've checked out of whatever you're trying to put together, or whatever you're doing, or whatever you're trying to fix, right? But when they still care, when they still get angry, frustrated, when that's it, they're still there. You still have a chance, right?
But it's also because I'm forced, right? Because no other game developer out there seems to be capable of even doing something remotely as brilliant as CCP. I have been sitting there looking for the next, call it EVE Online killer, and they all fail. Like recently with New World, that had some aspects that looked really good. Same with something like Albion. There's always been someone trying to create some of the chemistry and magic that CCP made, but they all fail, and they all make completely horrible mistakes in their priorities and in their focus, and they're so afraid of breaking the expectations of the impatient modern gamer. And I just think they're completely wrong.
Yeah, well, strangely enough, Elmar did talk to this at the tech conference in the UK, like a week or so ago. He said something along the lines of basically that like a lot of companies try and recreate sort of like the same thing that CCP was able to somehow figure out like way back in the time, but he's very much of the opinion that you can't just build it and it will function. Like it has to be a sort of cooperative thing between players and the company for it to sort of you can't just build it and expect it to happen. Like it's sort of a spontaneous thing.
But I've got a laugh at that.
Well, but to point out something that I know that is very popular now, right? All these survival games and Tarkov and stuff like that. And it proves the point that I have made many years ago, and I will still do it because it's pretty much something that I strongly believe. When you have a dungeon master in a pen and paper game that's basically a Monty Hall that just gives you fucking everything, and you got Vorpal Blades +5, like 3 or 4 sessions in, that's not fun. What's fun is when you get the bastard dungeon master from hell that puts you in a desert with a rusty knife and a broken tin of water, right? That's where you get the cool experiences. You get it from struggle. You get it from actual survival mode or challenge where you overcome these challenges even though they are ridiculous and you feel like he's just trying to kill the entire group, right? That's funny to play.
Caleb, I need to introduce you to Rust.
But that's exactly the point. And that was literally what EVE Online felt like when you started playing it back in 2003. It felt like you were in hell, like everything was horrible and a grind, and the biggest threat was not necessarily the environment that we were already struggling with. No, it was the fact that there was always other players trying to kill you and backstab you. And then And that's still a core part of EVE, but I just feel like that challenge has just become less and less of the selling point. And
the thing is, they
was the fucking concept.
The thing is, Caleb, like it has felt like, you know, over the past like 5 to 10 years of EVE Online like development, it has felt like they've been chasing this, like, oh, we must make the game, you know, better, more accessible, better for players, better for new players coming in, etc., etc. Very much in this sort of feel of like, you know, that like MMOs and sort of RPGs try and do right now, which is, you know, very much based around sort of like the sort of how sort of like the MMOs in sort of Asian countries kind of generally tend to do, which is, you know, they tend to try and, you know, create this scenario where the player is like this almighty god, right? Like in terms of bestowing power. And then it's like, well, that may work in like a single player game, but it doesn't really work in a multiplayer MMO or like a persistent MMO because, you know, if everybody's a god, nobody's a god.
Exactly. And back in the day, you had these notable early adopter players that got really, really good at the game, right? And some of them are actually now developers and stuff. But these people were massive heroes, and the notoriety and the fear when these people came into system was just crazy. And it was the same with the developments of groups. When these groups started contacting you, you cowered because they were so scary, right? And I think post basically the feeder corp and the mega groups, everything like that just became a little bit. It was like there was like a duopoly or an oligopoly of like 3, 4, 5 big groups, and everyone else were just losers. There was no granularity in capabilities.
So I'm going to disagree with you on something.
What? No.
You're saying.
Go for it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I might get this wrong because it's going a little while back in the conversation, but I don't think what's doing the game is going more casual or going more accessible. I think the game would be perfectly fine if they did that, but they need to do it right. The issue the game has isn't the audience it's aiming for.
Well, for the solo player or the small group player, yes, it should be more casual. And for the interaction with the environment, so player versus environment and that stuff, right? I think that should definitely be tweaked to be more fun and accessible for the people that do not want to participate in the big, scary, complicated game. This is also why I have said highsec, or at least some parts of highsec, needs to be completely safe for the casual player. But for the rest of us that want to take these chances and battle each other, it needs to be way more hardcore. It needs to have a lot more struggle and strife and loss involved, right? That was what really, to me, made this game so amazing, that the hardcore PvPers, the big null block entities, when they clashed, it had effects in the entire universe on things like pricing and profitability and where you could go safely and all those things. That is what we should have gotten more of. Make it casual for the casuals, make it more hardcore for the hardcore.
Right.
I think
there's a balance to be had. What I mean, even in that way, I'm not sure. But where I was going was more people appreciate good design. Proper effort put in, not just copy paste shite that's already there.
Yeah, it was low effort stuff, right? Because we've definitely like railed on CCP, over the past like year or two, like about the fact that they've just been doing low effort stuff. Like, not all of CCP. There's been some aspect of what they've been doing that's been more high effort stuff, especially like faction warfare stuff. But like, other than that, like it's felt like it's been low effort, like change a few numbers here, there, etc., right?
And it's been that way for several years now. I mean, when did scarcity start? Because I would say that was
right after
the start of just the what's that, 2019, right? So we're talking 4 years of mostly dialing numbers around just to try and fix the game.
Okay, but the problem you're going to run into is you're sitting there going, oh, it's been like 4 years of just trying to tweak some numbers here and there. When wasn't it? We're going to twist a few knobs. We're going to adjust a few numbers. That was the story. That was the story on the Munin, on the Ishtar, on the Proteus, on the keep going back
development went into
more
other
than 10
stuff.
years. That's always been CCP's approach, is we're going to make these tiny little changes and see what happens.
Well, normally it wasn't tiny little changes.
But there was
normally
development
it's a bunch of small
put
changes.
into other stuff.
Yeah, but normally it's been a bunch of changes that like basically boost the living shit out of something or nerf the living hell out of something. It's been very rare that CCP's done a calm, measured approach and tweaked numbers in a manner that like pushes things slightly better or slightly worse. mostly
it's
been
the
like
fuzzy effect, right?
you know, it's been the
look,
nerf hammer, or
either
you know,
they've
that kind of
nerfed
thing.
things into the ground,
Yeah,
or they've said, "Here, we're going to nerf this," and everyone's looked at it and gone, "I have to change one module on my fit. You've nerfed nothing."
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, or they nerf it so hard that it becomes completely useless, or they buff it so much that it completely overpowers and destroys the whole
Right.
meta and the whole fucking economy. It's the fuzzy effect. Every time fuzzy dials things to 10 or to 1, it just breaks the entire mold.
Well,
and
it
it's
wasn't-
always because he only thinks one level out, not 2, not 3,
No,
not 4.
see, that's just it. That's just it. It's not really fuzzy. Because like he was only ever the guy facing the public. It was the whole team, the whole damn dev group was doing this. It's
Yeah, but
just
it was
that
a
Fozzie's the
philosophy,
one.
right?
It's just that Fozzie's the one who kept, you know, being volunteered to stick his face into the fan.
True.
Yeah.
But it's still it's his name on the problems that were made, right? With the turning of the dials back and forth, like it was some sort of whack-a-mole for the player base. It's like that's just not fun. I do value
a reason.
some of the intent of taking something that's completely underutilized and maybe almost massively buff it. But this 1 and 10 setting is just ridiculous. You need to do it way more incrementally, especially because you don't know how horrible players like the guy in the room, Arrendis, is going to break your intention with simple fucking math.
And the thing is, if you're gonna be the guy presenting it to the players, like, you know, I mean, one, you should know that that's gonna happen, like with whatever's being worked on, right? And two,
Yeah.
if you're gonna be the one presenting it, expect, you know, the impetus is on you to make sure and to whip the team members into making sure that the actual thing that you're launching is decent, because from that day onwards, your name is going to be associated with it. Like, yeah, fair enough. Everybody may you know may sort of know that like this new solve system that we have is Aegis solve, but it will forever be also have the name Fuzzy Solve. Why?
Well,
because he introduced it to the players. He may not have been the one who drove the development of it in any way, shape, or form, but he was the one who introduced it to the players.
Right.
Yeah. But take the example that was mentioned with the Tengu nerf, right? You can talk about things like the Tengu and the Sweeple and all that stuff. And you can also talk about faction battleships and whatnot. But every single time we ended up in these problems, right? People like myself said, well, the problem is not necessarily the ship. The problem is that it is so easy to source that you can make fucking fleets of it. That was never the intention of these types of platforms, or at least make them so expensive that if you decide to have a full fleet of Sweeples or Tengus or faction battleships, when you lose them, it is a massive loss and you will take a long time to actually recover. But every dunkdinkle out there say, oh no, you can't do that, and the game has progressed to this level. It's like, yeah, okay, but then it's been destroyed to this level because these things do not have the value that warrants the utility. And then you need to start nerfing everything back to the Stone Age to actually try and fix it. But the fix was in the valuation and the sourcing, not in the actual platform.
I disagree. You don't balance around the price of an object.
You definitely don't balance around the price. The price is too easy to manipulate.
But it's not. Not if the source at the actual faucet is really, really hard to utilize to a level where you can have fleets of faction battleship. It makes no fucking sense.
You fix it by the faucet, but not by the price.
You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that in a way that.
But that's how it was.
Locks down.
But it's bad micromanagement of it. Like, say for example, when you're talking about like fleets of like faction battleships, right? Like my mind immediately goes to Navy APOCs, right? And the reason why Navy APOCs are like like NAPOCs, right? Like the reason why NAPOCs are as cheap and as accessible as they are is because so many people, like there was like null groups out there that had a long period of time where like they were able to just they were able to rat the living hell out of the areas that they were for such a long period of time, uncontested, to be able to print out these BPCs for such a long period of time. But the thing is,
and let's remember they only required skill level 1.
The thing is, that should have been something that CCP should have noticed with statistics
there was
and with
no
data
bottleneck
to be able
after
to sort
that.
of fix it.
But I want to address something here, Caleb.
The point is, all the bottlenecks that were supposed to come after the sourcing of the blueprint, right? So things like the skill level. So you had a limited amount of people that are actually going to be able to build it. Things like the required utility slots to actually build them. So you had to sacrifice something if you wanted to do them in parallel production instead of serial. All of these types of bottlenecks that was actually a core part of EVE was destroyed by really bad choices from CCP. Take something like when, was it 5,000 battleships that was fucking killed in the big battles. All your Ravens, right?
Yeah.
The day after, there was 5,000 jobs started in fucking Goon Space to replenish those.
Yeah. That's going to happen no matter what.
That is absolutely not true, Caleb. Rat and I started those jobs way before the next day.
Okay. Sorry.
It was picked up by everybody the next day.
No matter what, Caleb, though.
But the point is that was not possible before infinite slots. It was literally not possible. And I'm not saying that we should go back to that horror. I'm just saying we should have landed somewhere in between where the players had to actually put skin in the game if they wanted the potential production line needed to do something like that. And they didn't. They just could use 2 structures to produce everything.
So okay. I'm gonna have to say you're wrong there, and I'm gonna have to actually invoke personal privilege knowledge here. When you say they're gonna have to put skin in the game, dude,
I mean,
to this day, if I tell Rat I need 3,000 Ravens tomorrow, I will get a stream of invective that lasts longer than you and Dirk ranting together. Don't tell me there was. Don't tell me there was. No, that's not out of game. That's because the player has skin in the game. That's the player has actual stress over this shit. That is a real impact. Don't tell me he didn't have skin in the game.
You are talking significant time to put in 5,000 runs.
I mean, yeah, it is a lot of clicks, right? For sure.
Yeah.
I think Caleb's not saying
moving material around.
Yeah, it is moving material around. It is clicks and stuff like that. I think what Caleb was talking more along the lines of not in terms of clicks and in terms of moving material around, but having the structures in space. There should be more structures in space to be able to require you to be able to sort of scale or to sort of have that level of parallel building.
That's also where the spy game becomes interesting, right? You have to, like you did in the past, you have to know where the facilities are that are building the Titans. You have to know where they're stored and where they're parked, right? When you could suddenly just cram all of them and just dock them in a station, and you could do infinite build jobs from that same station, you didn't have the same requirements when it comes to strategically placing your military stock. You didn't have to do that much on preparing and having massive stock available of, say, Raven battleships, because you're going to whelp them all on a structure. All this type of preparation and knowing where stuff is and being able to potentially steal it, all of this type of complicated gameplay was nerfed and destroyed by CCP choices. It's not the player's fault. We did not destroy the game. CCP did.
To be fair, the 1DQ Barbie Keepstar is, it is the most significant TARDIS that has ever existed. Considering how much is in there at this point in time, right?
Conquerable stations were no different. You just couldn't dock super caps at them.
That's pretty fucking important.
There was a lot of
for
caps in
that
there. Yeah,
comment.
fair enough. There, you could put a lot of caps in there, but not supers or titans. Yeah, it's true. But
Right.
you know, the other thing was you had to
You
find
could
a
put
safe space.
5,000 ravens in there.
And again, I'm not asking to go back to the suicide coffins and shit. Like, no. But I'm saying they made a mistake when they made these things
Well, dude,
completely open
I mean,
for
Caleb,
all
you
this.
and I both remember, like, you know, when citadels were being kind of like developed and stuff, that they were talking about like, not docking stuff in, but like
Mooring.
Mooring would have
right?
been
Yeah.
one of the most amazing things ever, and they
they never got round to
that
actually
ball.
being able to figure it out because like someone higher up at CCP just basically went, I don't care what your problem is, get the fucking
much
thing
effort.
out. Too much
But can you imagine
time, just get it out.
if you could see them parked, or if you could see them being constructed on the building platforms?
I mean, they had an image.
Also part of the plan.
That was the seeing them being built was actually part of a thing, and I do recall that there was actually an image of, you know, a Satio with Titans in build, and you could see them being built. Like,
it would have been amazing. That would have been the
That's not
coolest
a
thing
CCP
ever in the
problem.
game.
That was not a CCP problem.
oh,
The amount of people that bitched and moaned at the idea that people would be able to see capitals in build because it was free intel.
I mean, the amount of free intel that you get anyway, like. And
Yeah,
you can tell with it.
but the amount that bitched and moaned was absurd.
But the thing
And
is,
they had the idea just there and then.
You can tell from
what about industry index?
Yeah, exactly. You can tell from the
reverse
index.
engineer exactly what is being built.
Yeah, but
down
this
to the
was
detail
just
fucking platform.
This was just oh no. You know, we've got the industry index and we can analyze it because we're a big group, but if this small group comes along, they can just see it in build. You know, they might not have the capability to do the index reverse engineering, but they'll be able to just see it in build. But we can't be having some small startup group seeing that.
Some small startup group who's got the same spreadsheet the big group does. That's all you need. It's not like you need to have like a team of people doing all this analysis.
Plus, I'd just like to point out,
because that is the bitching that happens.
I'd just like to point out as well.
Collectively,
I'd just like to point out that it is
the situation.
I'd just like to point out that it is actually quite interesting as well. If that was the legitimate reasonings why people were saying that you couldn't have it like actually appear as though it's being built, like small, like so people would be complaining about a small group basically seeing it in build, but actually not having any capability of being able to attack it because they are a small group.
But it's the same with if they were willing to have a discussion of like a middle ground. So instead of loot pinata, difference between wormholes and the rest of space, how about something just like the fact that you can't cancel industry jobs? That when you have something like 5,000 ravens being built in one DQ, well, if someone busts that bubble now, that is all of that stuff is going to be dropped into space. That would also be an incentive for getting access to these loot pinatas, right? Instead, CCP decided to go with, we're going to put these industry cores in that can drop. It's like, that's not fun. That's not emergent. That's not Eve. Eve would be getting loot from fucking industry.
I would like to say that if you couldn't cancel industry jobs, then you wouldn't have like scenarios where who was it? Was it Dave Archer or was it?
Yeah.
It was Dave, right?
Was
it Dave who just cancelled like what was it, like?
No, I meant if it's already if it's in reinforced, right? If you have taken down the shield and you are actually aggressing against it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Job. Of course, you should be able to do that when everything is in peace.
If everything's hunky dory, you should be able to cancel jobs. But if your shit's being like reinforced and stuff, like there shouldn't be that. There shouldn't be the option to just casually go over and cancel stuff. Like,
and it would be hilarious if like tier 1 would be that all market orders got locked. Like, what the fuck? Shit, all the business people are fucked. Then all the industry people on stage 2, and it's like, okay, fuck this shit. Yeah, and the same with assembled ships.
See,
okay,
we're
skin
fucked in the game kind of thing.
So you get gradual skin in the game. First, all the fucking market stuff is locked and will become loot. Then all the industry becomes loot, and then all the assembled ship left in hangars will become loot. Everything else can be asset safety, but those 3 stages would be gradual fucking horror to someone being aggressed against, and this would be very Eve.
I'm not sure how much of that is actually in the game or not. Like, I think there's like elements of that in the game, but nowhere near as much as, you know, you'd want, Caleb, and such. But, you know, we are like a good 10, if not 20 minutes beyond our
20
minutes beyond our remit as such. So, you know, anything, and I hate to ask this, anything that you guys haven't said that you want to say? Let's
Well, people say that my Eve would make people stop playing. That's just not true, because my Eve was what we had until the Summer of Rage, and that was when people kept coming into the fucking game because it was fun.
I don't remember your Eve before the Summer of Rage. I don't remember all those super capitals being in built-in citadels like that during the Summer of Rage.
No, that's the thing he doesn't want. That's the thing he doesn't want.
No, he wants them there. He just wants them, you know, with limited slots, but, you know.
And visible
and visible.
They were kind of limited slots, but they weren't visible. Like, you know, because I definitely did scout my fair share of.
And for the record, Caleb, I am saying we should go back to space coffins.
Well, a little bit, but I'm not saying we should go back and get pauses back. I'm just saying we should get some of the stuff that was in the pause design.
We don't have to get pauses back.
Straight up space coffins. And here's why. There are already advantages to scale in Eve. Literally, every advantage you want comes from scale. Because if there's an advantage you can get from being a small group, you can get that advantage 3 or 4 times over by being 3 or 4 small groups all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has scale gives you every advantage.
Yeah.
There is no reason scale also needs to give you, well, this super high level high SP character can actually get out of their ship because we're big enough to own a Keepstar.
Exactly.
Whereas the small groups, who might have a Titan for bridging, can't use that character for anything else because they got to keep it in a pause.
Yeah.
It's also because...
Or they got to keep it on tether and safe logged.
It feels like Eve developers don't understand the term diminishing returns, and the bigger the platform that you are working in, whether you are mining or ratting, it needs to have a massively diminishing return because the value needs to be reflected on the value you have in. So otherwise, if you have an exponential or linear progression where you get progressively better at an exponential level, the distance between a noob and a veteran is going to be so far that it's ridiculous.
But that's what Eve is. That's what Eve is designed to do.
Caleb, I really need to get you playing Dust. Not Dust. Getting you to play Rust.
Rust.
Yeah.
But that's what Eve is. That's what Eve is basically set up to do right now, Caleb, and has been for a long time. Like, look at all the structure changes that made medium structures so much more vulnerable. Like, all of that is, well, if you've got the larger number of people, then you can use the larger structure that doesn't suffer these vulnerabilities, and you can get all these other advantages. And when people pointed out this really just fucks the small guys, you know, CCP went, yeah, but the CSM is full of people who like shooting small guys' structures, so they say it's good.
I mean, There's also, I want to address
You
the one in the
watching,
chat,
Briss?
Dr. Device. Dr. Device says diminishing returns is solved by interdict logistics routes. But again, that's something that only helps the big guys.
Everything.
If you really want to go down the route of interdictable logistics routes, Goons, PH, Frat, I was going to say test, but not test anymore. You know, the big blocks, we can dump 256 guys on that trade route or logistics route and just make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
Small groups trying to get started can't put 256 guys in a fleet, let alone have them sit there for an hour defending shit.
It's also because if you have a better return of investment when you're choosing a smaller platform or more small structures or whatever, that is putting more skin in the game. It's forcing people to have more multiple accounts or even more players in your org, and that's actually healthy for the game. That is the way to go. It creates the natural catch-up mechanic that you get to that, call it medium level or high level player degree, where you have to start then thinking about how to optimize, because the return of investment is now diminishing massively.
I'm going to say something that might be fairly controversial and upsetting for people who play Eve. All right. I know I would never do that, but the whole let's encourage people to run multiple accounts thing is one of the worst decisions CCP ever made. They should not have done it. It is an inextricable, unremovable part of the game now, but it basically fucks everything.
It does fuck so many different things. It also fucks the ability for CCP to truly actually understand how big a player base they have, because they can't really understand quite how many actual human beings they have playing their game, because it's conflated and you know, like the all the data is messy, because how, like, you know, do you know if that's an ult of somebody else's, etc., like, you know, in the same way that I mean, the classic thing of, like, you know, how good CCP is at understanding the metrics that they get, you know, was personified by them talking, saying that fuck, not Asher, not
that Aerith was a highsec
player. Yeah, exactly. You knew where I was going there.
Yep.
Can I just answer Pink Rabbit? Because I think it would be a mistake to completely nerf something. But I think the core problem is that CCP never implemented something like the requirements of actual payment on gates, on either fuel or ISK cost, depending on who's actually the owner of them. Because if it was a complete emergency thing only that you would use a super on a gate, because it was pretty expensive, either ISK per tonnage or in fuel that you had to mine yourself. Of course, then it's free, but still, the point is, if that was a deterrent, people would not abuse it, and it would only be used at emergencies. That is the type of limitations that
can you imagine how much everyone would scream?
It would literally just be a wealth. It'll literally just be a wealth gate, like, you know, the rich can use it, but poor can't, basically.
So,
well, like, but we're falling back into the weeds of something that we really shouldn't, because it's already half past, and like we actually should.
Can you imagine how much people would scream across the game if gates in nullsec charged people for anything?
I mean, yeah, you would get like some serious people raging.
Because there's no way they only charge for capitals or super capitals. That's not the way CCP implements things.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you'd be paying.
It'd be like jump bridges, or jump gates these days, I suppose.
And that's what it should be.
Right. But now what happens when all of your fleets have to pay for every gate?
But it doesn't matter, because you can set up your own.
Don't tell me it doesn't matter.
You can set up your own gate network.
It will matter, but it will also.
You can do the communist thing if you want, or you can do the capitalist thing if you want.
No.
It would add to server server time and server usage as well, because like you have additional stuff that you need to calculate and you know have go through different.
Don't even think about that. Don't even think about that. Don't even think about that for a moment, okay? It is the beginning of June 2020. Okay?
In this scenario.
Initiative and Goonswarm have just set the cost of all of their gates to 1 billion ISK per ton.
That's the effectiveness
Go
of
on
closing the gate system.
Go on and invade Fountain. Go on and invade Delve. All we have to do is watch the systems in Sino range.
Well, remember, law-wise, the player should not be able to have control of the.
Well, then
NPC
why are they able to set the tax rates there, Caleb?
Well, they shouldn't be.
Well,
they should be able to set the alternative, because they would be exorbitantly expensive to use for actual fleets and supers.
But they can set the tax rates on the alternatives.
Yeah, of course, and they should always be a cheaper solution or even a free solution that the state pays for.
Okay, guys, I do need to we do need to call this at some point.
It's the incentive for the players to build their own gate network.
I mean, just wait for Brisk to yell at us to get off the air.
This is getting ridiculous. I need to fucking call it at some point, because people need to be able to go and have a fucking break before going to before watching Meta Show, for fuck's sake.
No, the point that people don't understand is that everything is about making the players have control, and instead of the NPC.
Wait.
The whole point.
Caleb. Mac, kill the stream right now. Bye, everybody.
I need to do a few things first. That's the annoying thing about this. Jesus Christ. You guys have had your fair share of your one last thing, okay? No more fucking one last things from you guys. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, if you don't realize this, Meta Show is coming up in half an hour. Be there. It's going to be good. It should be fairly awesome.
And the other thing,
the other thing as well is that the channel is doing a D&D show on the 21st. If you like D&D, then go and check it out on the 21st of this month. They're also going to be doing a Logitech giveaway on that D&D show. So check it out. Dave is going to be, I think Dave's going to be presenting it, going to be hosting it. That should be a lot of fun.
We cannot guarantee that whatever they're giving away will be able to, steer a submersible to the Titanic. But we can advise that you don't do that. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I would not recommend, if you did win that, to use it in a submersible or anything IRL. Just use it for your PC and let that be that, okay? Jesus Christ. But But other than Meta Show, obviously Meta Show you've got coming up in under a half now, in 25 minutes as such. You got all the usual kind of things. You've got the Wormhole Wednesday show, Data Thursday, and back around to the weekend to us, etc. So, thank you very much for everybody who
I don't get my last thing.
Chilled out. You had your last thing.
You had like 5 of them. You had like an hour of last thing.
No, I didn't.
You had so many last things.
The last thing is a 2-minute thing.
Look at the time.
You were bitching about citadels and industry slots.
I distinctly remember saying, "Okay, guys, like we need to get through and let's do our last things." And then you started up as though it was your last thing.
Did I?
And that was like 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
So, you've had your last thing by a metric fucking mile. So, chill.
Damn it.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for chilling out with us. With all of our shenanigans, insanities, and our like random tangents into like the bullshittery of like enjoying this game for, that however many decades that we have. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Check out Meta Show in half an hour, in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But that'll be it for us. See you guys later.